And been here. Here we go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rodney. Welcome back.
For having me again.
Oh, no. Thanks for coming on again.
This is the sexy 9 o'clock in the morning version that you get around. The polished executive guy later in the day.
We wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah.
Plus, at 9 in the morning, I have to adjust to Cody's voice.
Yeah, I guess we all do.
If I were to have prepared too much, that energy that I would have used to prepare. So there you go.
How you been, Rodney? Good to see you.
Yeah, welcome back.
Good to see you guys too, man. Thank you for having me again.
It seems like you have a lot going on these days.
A little bit. I will stave off unemployment for a little while.
That's awesome. What's it called? You should use Cody's voice as like your alarms for when you need to wake up.
Ooh, great
Go
idea.
to meetings on time.
I think the last time we talked, I suggested having it as a ringtone, at the very least. Even in a vibrating way. You can still hear it. Just the rumble under. I think it would still work. Yeah.
He does have a good amount of bass and treble in his voice. So.
Yeah, he does.
Very much so. Very much so.
Editing the episode, sometimes I've almost actually gone deaf just because Cody's voice gets so loud.
If you hit Cody with a good one, it could destroy the entire studio.
Oh,
We've definitely blown out a few speakers.
I'm sure.
Well, thank you for coming on again, Rodney. It's good to see you. We're very excited to talk about the sneak peek of your book, Blacula, Return of the King.
Yeah.
yeah. Very excited.
Yes, very excited.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
for everyone listening, welcome to Comics and Chronic. I am one of your hosts, Jacob H. With me today is Anthony Inacio, Cody Cannon, and our second time returning guest. He is a writer and executive producer for HBO's Winning Time. He currently writes for Image's Killadelphia. He's the creator and writer of it, as well as Nightmare Blog.
Nita Hawes Nightmare Blog.
Please welcome back to the show, Rodney Barnes.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey. Thank you. Does it work the same over Zoom? Does it feel as intimate?
Yeah, I think so.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good.
Fine.
What do you mean, as opposed to
Yeah.
what?
Like being in a room together. Although I can't imagine being in a room with Cody. Strike that. Zoom is perfect. Zoom is perfect. I can't imagine 9 o'clock in a room with Cody after a long night of working. Oh my God. Cody could be giving away the secrets to quantum physics, and I would be like, oh, it's all right. It's okay. It's okay. Wait, give me a couple hours. Let me get breakfast first. All right.
It's like when Black Bolt speaks. It's not
Perfect.
Or Cody would say Banshee. Cody loves
I
Banshee.
do love
Yes.
Banshee.
Any of those apply.
Well, that's awesome. Once again, thank you for coming back on.
Yes.
Yeah, we were given a sneak peek of your new book, Blacula, Return of the King. And also, in preparing for this, we all watched Blacula because
We watched.
I've never
yeah.
seen it before.
Did you watch it like completely sober? Like, how did you watch Black?
What?
I was high as fuck when I watched it.
Cody, how did you watch Black?
I was sober because the first time I watched it, because I've seen it before, I was really high. But
Okay.
I'm with my family right now, so
Were they sober? Were
yes.
they- okay. All right.
No, I had an edible. I hit the bong a few times. I was ready.
It's good to juxtapose different ways of seeing it.
Yeah.
I always loved the movie. I mean, I was a kid when I saw it. I think my mother took me to it. I had this weird thing where when I was like 6 or 7 years old, my parents split up when I was about 2, I believe. And somewhere along the lines, my mother said, I need to get this kid a father. And when she started dating guys, she would take me on the date kind of to see whether or not we all would fit. So I got to pick the dates. So, which I'm sure the guys really liked. They didn't have trailers at the time on TV, but they would have like these quick little spots. They wouldn't come out like as long as today. You get like damn near the whole movie. But
Right.
I saw like late night one night, because again, I didn't have a father, not a lot of supervision, that there was this movie Blacula coming. And I love horror movies. And I wanted to see that. So when the opportunity came, hey, what do you want to see? Because I'm going on this date with this new guy. I said, that movie. And it was only playing in Baltimore. And it was the first time I'd seen like the Universal movies with the Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, those movies from the 40s and 30s and whatever that always played on the late night creature features. And I'd seen the Hammer films with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. And very rarely did they have black people in them unless they went like, he went that away. You know, it was like very rarely were they part of the story. And so I wanted to see like, you know, something about Blacula, obviously, that intrigued me. So we go to Baltimore, and it was a theater full of black people. Like other than church, this was the biggest room gathering of black people I'd ever been to in my life. And it was that experience that like Tarantino talks about and others talk about, where people talk to the screen. It was interactive. I don't know, it was purposely designed to be that way, but it was the most fun experience I'd had in a movie that was a horror movie. And for its time, it was pretty well made and thought through for a blaxploitation movie. It had its issues. And even then, I think, because I had been, as a kid, sort of cultured to what these things should be, in quotes. But there was something that sort of endeared itself to me. And so over the years, I watched it again and again and again and again and again. And as I got closer to this idea, one day maybe I'll be a writer and be able to talk to folks like yourselves. And if I ever got the opportunity to not rewrite or redo or play in this space a little bit, this is what I would do. So when the opportunity presented itself, I took it and said, hey, this is what I would do. And what you see and what you have before you is that.
So how did it present itself exactly? Did you go to Image and say you wanted to do a Blacula comic, or?
No, well, this is an Image. This is my company. This is Zombie Love Studios.
Shit.
This is something I created. That's okay. I did this. And what happened was I decided I wanted to, for some reason, maybe I was high at the time. I wanted to start a comic book imprint. And because when you go to other publishers and you pitch things, I pitch things all the time, TV shows and movies. I'm constantly pitching. I'm constantly like, it's almost like talking to you guys. It's like I'm sitting in front of people and I'm pitching, I'm talking, I'm selling constantly. I wanted the experience of being able to think of something and just do it, and without having to sell. And sort of have that creative experience that you have that's kind of idealistic and romantic. And I had no idea how to do it. I had no idea. It was a romantic notion that I did not know how. Sometimes I think we all find out how expensive romance can be, but it was a romantic notion.
Oh, yeah.
And so I said, I want to do this thing. And I was working with, I wrote a movie for New Regency with Michael B. Jordan's company that still may see the light of day one day, a monster movie. And Alana Mayo, who was at the time running Michael B. Jordan's company, Outlier, went over to Orion or MGM, one of them, and was working there. And they had the rights to Blacula, or somehow within that family, they're connected. And she helped me get the rights to Blacula, literally.
Oh my God.
And they do, and MGM licenses a bunch of their stuff out, because I did Army of Darkness and James Bond, and there are other books that they license out. And Blacula was just one of them that was sitting there and had never been done, at least to my knowledge, had never been done. And so I went there, and Carol Mora and some other great folks over there really helped me, kind of get everything wrangled together. And then once I had the rights, now it's about creatively who's going to, go on this journey with me. So we went through, all right, who best to do this with? And, Jason and I do Killadelphia, obviously, and I didn't know if you do Blacula with Jason, does it feel too much like Killadelphia? But I think because the story is so different than Killadelphia and it's more traditional to the idea of how old school horror films, in my opinion, old school horror films feel in the classic sense or how I see them, I felt like it would fit. And then Jason's such a great artist that to me, I wanted the purity of Jason because other people sometimes would ink his work. And I just wanted the purity. He colors this, he inks this, he pencils this, he does everything.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
And I just love his work so much. And I don't like him. I think I've established that. I've said this in every interview. We did a signing the other day. Every time we had to sign, I wanted to do it like, I don't know if you remember when Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis fought each other and they had to put security guards between the two of them. Whenever we do a signing together, I always want like the shop owner to stand between them because Jason can be problematic at times. But I love his art, so much. And, and we know each other so well. And I have to talk to him every day. And, so it just was a natural place that, I would want to go on this journey. And he's art director for the company. So why not do it with Jason?
And while you can definitely see the lines, I definitely feel like it has a distinct style. It doesn't look just like like a Killadelphia comic. It has its own distinct style.
I agree.
Yes.
I also think like there's so many things today. I mean, always with comics, but just like with the nature of like the MCU and like always wanting like you have your own Killadelphia universe. You have the spin-off stories and the things that go there. Not everything has to connect. Like it's beautiful that this has nothing to do with it because you're saying, yeah, Killadelphia is a completely different story. You get even watching the Blacula movie. There's like maybe there's a way they could connect, but it doesn't need to. No. And I just like that this is like its own So this is just like a standalone graphic novel. It's not like meant to be like a continuing series.
It is. Well, there will be more stories. I want to do 3 volumes of it and then see what happens. Again, one of my children will not go to college because of this. I haven't decided which one. Or I won't get married. Either I won't get married, which will probably be easier to cremate me, or not send one of the bad ones will end up in prison because of this. But it's I have a couple of retro 70s characters that I'd love to bring into the world with Blacula that are horror themed that I'm talking to companies about to do volume 2 and volume 3 with. And I just think it would be a lot of fun. And that's the key word for this is fun. And selfishly for me, things that I fantasized about that, wouldn't it be cool if? And if you're going to have a company and you're going to have a labor of love, why not do what you want to do and see if it works?
Absolutely.
From when we talked to you last time, I think I could guess who he's going to meet up with. But I don't know if saying that is like spoiling anything. Last time we were talking about a specific like 70s horror character, Kolchak.
Oh, yeah, Kolchak. Yes, I would love for Kolchak. I'm not going to. It's early in the morning. I've talked to Cody already and I'm adjusting to Cody. I would love for Kolchak to be in the Blacula universe for a spell. Kolchak's a weird one because those of us who remember Kolchak, and then there are other people who go, who? And it's weird. It's this weird legion of those who do and those who don't. But I love the Darren McGavin version of Kolchak the Night Stalker and love Richard Matheson's telling of those 2 movies of the week and some of the TV episodes, and love the idea of the whole thing. And I actually contributed to Moonstone's 50th anniversary. I wrote one of the stories in their anthology series, and that's out now. It's a beautiful Where is, because I always keep comic books near me because criminals could come in and I got to hit them with one. This is the book now. It's a beautiful book.
Nice.
I need to get that.
See, if you just take these two things, you put these two things together, they just kind of fit well. See?
Nice.
Yeah, so it would be, a blast to be able to put those two things together and have fun with them.
What was the name of your imprint company?
Zombie Love Studios.
Zombie Love Studios.
Yeah, I mean, for me, being able to do little animated things, books, any turning IP into other things, and just to be able to have my own little hubbub in corner of the neighborhood, to be able to just wake up in the morning, or I have dreams at night. Just me and you right now talking, Cody. And sometimes in my dream, I wake up in the morning and it's weird. There's this weird thing where I judge my dreams. I don't know if I'm fully awake, but like 5:30, I start, like I'll have a dream from midnight to 4 in the morning. And I'm like, this is a great idea. This is like the greatest idea that's ever. No one's had a better idea than this. No one. Maybe God had a better idea than this. But, and then I start judging the idea as I get closer to waking up. And then I wake up and I said, was that a good idea? Or was I just like, come on, was that really a good idea? Or was I just like dreaming? And as the day goes on, I think about it and I think about it and I think about it. And if it sticks, then I start messing around with the idea. Having a place to be able to just make those things a reality is sort of kind of cool to me. Not having to call somebody and make an email and, hey, could you know this person? Could you get them to listen to my idea and see it? I'm getting too old for that. I do, like I said, I do that every day. Every day I have to go to somebody and have a big stack of papers and pitch and seem convincing. So, yeah. So does this, with you having this, the rights to this imprint, is this related? I know there's been talks of a Blacula remake. Is your comic? No, that's my friend Deion Taylor. He's doing, he wants to do a movie version. And, we've talked about some things and, his vision is different than mine. He has this thing that he wants to do, but I don't see a reason why they can't, like, in the universes, the same way you have multiple Batmans and multiple things, but, the thing with me, damn, my voice is Cody again. It just went really high. I think in the world of where I'm at HBO, kind of like in the world of boxing where top ranked fighters don't fight PBC fighters. It's like I'm at HBO and I have my overall deal here and we're at MGM and MGM's at Amazon. It makes it hard to cross streams with characters and things. And so it's difficult, but not impossible. Nothing's impossible.
Nice.
That's very cool. I noticed in the Blacula comic, I wonder if you wrote it or was it something that Jason Shawn Alexander did, that when Blacula is being accosted by the 3 gang kids after he wakes up, they're wearing red, white, and blue. Mm-hmm. Was that a deliberate choice on your part, or was that something that Jason?
You mean the colors?
Yes. Yeah.
The colors are all Jason. I mean, anything that had to do with how anything looks, that's Jason.
Okay.
Anything they say, that's me. How something looks, that's him, unless I said, put that there. That's Jason.
So can I actually ask a question off that? So I'm actually with our friend Joey. There's this anthology called Unknown Heroes Anthology, and they asked me to do a 10-page. I've never written a comic, but I'm gonna write a 10-page comic for this anthology with this artist friend of ours. But I've never written a comic. So going off of that, there's obviously a relationship between you and Jason, like in real life, like you guys have a rapport.
Yeah.
But on the page, how does that translate? Like how, like, I guess I'm asking maybe like, what's some advice? Like, does it just come down to the artist, or do you have a certain way of deliberately writing your scripts for comics?
When I first started writing comics, the first comic I wrote was Falcon for Marvel. And I struggled the first 3 issues because I remember my editor coming back to me and saying that my scripts were ponderous because it was so many words. And understanding what the word ponderous means, it's not a very attractive word like ponderous. It's like difficult to read. Because I was writing them for live action actors. I was writing for actors. I wasn't writing for like art. And there's a relationship between art and words and graphic storytelling. And I hadn't made that jump. Like, I didn't know how to do that. It's the simplest way that I can put it. And there's a relationship between the two. And I think certainly in today's world, and probably for, I grew up on Alan Moore, who uses a lot of words, and Neil Gaiman, who uses a lot of words. Yeah. And that's a different type of, that's sort of its own subset of storytelling for a different time. And still great, and I still embrace it. But today, I think it's more of how quickly, like when I write for Marvel today and I do my little stories here and there, I did a Cloak and Dagger one not too long ago, and I do Mandalorian now as well. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how fast can you basically set up art and move through the story? So if you can support the art and keep the art moving and allow the panels to sort of tell the story themselves, allow the art to tell the story, the visual aspect of it, and not try to repeat what you see. I think, to me, that's the closer place to supporting the story. That makes sense?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
Yes. I see a lot of times where people will tell me exactly what it is that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And with Jason, the thing is, I know Jason's art so well, and I'm a fan of it. So if you go over Jason's house, he has like a gallery of some of the saddest Black people ever. Like, I don't know if in another life, I don't even want to intimate what that life could have been. But it's like you see these beautiful paintings of incredibly sad Black people. And this is pre-Killadelphia. And I was like, all right, I know the type of vampire story I want to tell. If I can put fangs on these people, this would be perfect. And it was more or less being a fan of it, but also being able to see not just the sadness that was in the art, but the emotion that was there. And when I'm writing, I'm thinking about his ability to interpret emotion and his ability to, even the humor, though. Like, there are times in Killadelphia when Sank's just getting a joke off or someone's landing a punchline. Like, his ability to direct that is really, really good. And I think between the two of us, we give each other shit so much. Like, literally, we were doing a signing, but the other people weren't there. We spent more time, like, literally, like, bagging on each other. Like, people were not like, are they going to fight, like, at any moment? I'm pulling his mask down and I'm hoping he gets COVID. Not really. And just constantly all day long, like, we were there for 2 hours, and it was just 2 hours of just, I'm signing here, but you're ugly, you're fat, and it's just like all day long. But we know each other really, really well. And so that rapport, both personally and professionally, builds it to a place where it makes it easy for us to have creative conversations and personal conversations. But I think that translates through the work as well when it comes to interpretation. So all of that to say, the more you can get to know the art style of the person that you're working with, and you see patterns of things, and within your writing, if you can pick up on those patterns and things that you think you do well, then I think the better you'll be able to interpret the story that you're trying to interpret.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you guys make a really good comic book duo between.
That'll be the special Dateline episode when we kill each other. They were they work so well together, and then they kill.
You guys make a great writer-artist duo, especially because, not even trying to blow smoke up your ass, but ever since we found Killadelphia, it's been one of my favorite independent runs.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm legit a fan, whether you were going to come back on or not. It's so cool to read.
I will say this: something no one is expecting in issue 30 on the last page, something really huge is going to happen that no one's expecting. And people say that all the time. People say like something big is going to happen and blah, blah, blah. And someone's coming. And it's not from the Killadelphia universe. There you go.
Ooh, interesting. So that brings
Cody,
me to a
let me say this. Let me say this. When Cody reads this, when Cody turns the last page, don't have your speakers on. Be near him. Let him be in a room by himself and then digest it and talk to Cody afterwards. And see whether it lives up to what Rodney set up. And see, Rodney was just a guy who was just saying something to just say it because it was Saturday morning. He was promoting a book.
Wait, so when does issue 30 come out? Is that soon?
No, this is 20. I think we're at 28. We're almost at the end of the arc. So we're a couple issues away, but it's the end of the arc. It's at the end of arc 5, I think. Yes, because arc 4, we're in a preliminary ballot for a Bram Stoker Award, which was, I was like, wow, okay,
Very
I'll
cool.
take it.
Yeah, congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Fine, I'll take it.
So does Killadelphia, will it have a finite ending?
At some point.
Yeah. Okay.
At some point. Sooner rather than later, probably, but I don't know. At some point. I think we got a couple more arcs left in us, but it's all up to, I think this story arc, and we said it every time, we were just texting the other day, we think this one is the most emotional, but we say that every time, so it starts to sound like bullshit after a while. So when it stops being that, then it's time to end it.
Nice.
Because it's that kind of book. It's not a plot-driven book. It's not one of those, and then this vampire, there's that vampire, then he bit him again. It's like, it's not that. It's about the world, and there you go.
Yeah, volume 3 was so emotional. I was going to say volume 3 almost like the moments where James Sangster Sr. is just like crying the tears of blood. It's just, ooh, those are hitting me, man.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's all we The two guys that hate each other, we conjure love. I don't know what it is. Maybe something real repressing. I don't know what it is.
I see. I just finished volume 4 of Killadelphia, in which you introduced. I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce his name. I know he's a real historical figure. Toussaint.
I'm not going to let you. I want to hear you try it. I want to hear you try. I'm not going to let.
All right, Toussaint Louverture.
Yeah, close enough. A little mature. I will put the T on it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to balance the dead presidents with someone else from history. There's always a danger in going back and digging up, no pun intended, historical figures and making them vampires and monsters and all of this kind of stuff, because then it starts to feel like you're doing it just to do it. They have to serve a purpose. They have to have a point. And Toussaint, his what he did to kind of free Haiti during that period with Napoleon was significant, because very rarely does history recognize those types of revolutions. You know, I'm sure a myriad of things happened over the course of human history that weren't recorded, and this one was, and Toussaint was a significant figure. And so, and he's not a vampire, and he does have a tremendous amount of power, and he's the one that's killing everybody right now and killing some of our favorite some of the people we've really come to connect with over the past 20 plus issues. So wanted to have someone who was an outlier, who came in, who we'll come to get to know in future arcs, possibly. And so just someone who I'm always looking for, when I sit down and write an issue, it's like, how can I make it different than the last one? How can I surprise you? I never want you to be able to figure anything out. I always wanted to make it feel like, you know, I didn't see that coming.
That's definitely how it feels. Always reading Killadelphia. I'm like, what the fuck? This is happening next.
You know, it's like, where'd that come from? You know, and those were always my favorite. And then when you ask me a question about how long is it going to go, when I lose the ability to do that, you know, and it's one of the reasons why I don't plot it out. Like when we're working on Winning Time and we plot it out, like in detail. That's necessary because there's so many other logistics. You know, you have to get locations and blah, blah, blah. So many other things that come with making a TV show. But here, again, in the freedom and the beauty of being able to make comic books, I have an idea and I know where I want to start. I know where I want to finish, but it's an exercise in writing. It's an exercise of being able to sit down and really what's under it is the theme of how I feel at a time. Am I angry? Am I in a good mood? Like I did one of the issues not long ago was more comedy than I think I've had in a minute with Anansi and the gods. He was trying to get the gods together and they were going to go against the dark forces. And he went to talk to Odin and they didn't want to get involved and fight in the dark realm. And it was like, I just wanted to have fun for a minute because sometimes it gets so dark and you're always talking about how bad the world is. And I wanted to go away from that for a minute just because that's how I felt in that day. You can turn on TV and feel really bad about the world sometimes. And I didn't want to do that for another month. I wanted to feel better and give some hope. And that's sort of what the book is. It's sort of, for me, a cathartic experience and trying to figure out how I look at the world. And, you know, Jason and I talk about these things sometimes and how we see the world and how to best express it in this, you know, piece of creative work. And when that goes away and when we lose that, or we've said most of what, you never get it all out. But when you don't have that to say anymore, probably time to at least pause it for a minute.
Nice. Yeah. One of my favorite things about Killadelphia is that, like, while it is absolutely a horror comic, it's always had elements of comedy, elements like these huge emotional moments. And it's just, it's a great comic, man. I'm glad we read it.
Thank you very much. Issue 30 is my favorite thing I think I've ever written, ever in my whole career. Mostly because when you look at in today's world, being an older comics reader and runs like Swamp Thing, or which is still one of my favorite runs in comics ever, and even the X-Men, the Claremont Byrne run, or those things, they went on for like 4 years. You know, today you'll get a team on for 10 issues, and that's a long time. You know, and we've gone for 2 years now. And there are people who say, wow, you guys been going and we've got a hardback book and we've got, you know, collections and volumes now. And, you know, you see that, but you never want that to be kind of the thing that you're going after. You want the quality. The greatest compliment I see sometimes when I mustered the courage to go to Twitter is, you know, this book keeps getting better. This book keeps getting better. This book keeps getting better. And when I hear that, what I hear is we keep getting better. You know, we keep putting more heart into it, that we haven't lost that passion. You're never going to be 100% all the time. And there's always going to be an issue there. Nah, that one wasn't, you know, whatever. But you're always trying. You're always swinging for the fences. You're always trying to give people their best. Now, I mean, even with Blacula being the first book coming out of the company, wanted it to feel special. You wanted it to, even with the book design, you didn't want it to feel like a regular, not to say a floppy can't be special, but you didn't want it to feel like just a floppy, like just another book. You wanted it to feel, the pages to feel heavier stock, the cover to feel heavier. I wrote an intro. The great Stephen Bissett wrote some back matter for us in the collected edition hardcover. We have a gallery of beautiful Blacula art from some of the best artists out there. Jason's friends. I don't know any of these people. They don't like and, you know, it's just being able to just really make fine art within the graphic space is something I've always wanted to do. It's never been, and, you know, my accountants and business managers are like, when they think comic books, they're like Spider-Man, and they sell millions, and people get rich. And I'm like, this isn't that venture. You know, hopefully one day this will be the adventure that's in my obituary. This isn't the venture that's going to put me on top of a hill. This is the venture that you do for love, and that you do because you're trying to find people who are connect emotionally to the work. You're looking for the fan that loves the thing that you love and to create a vibe. I mean, and I'll say this about the comics community, even why I dig talking to guys like yourselves and why I do these things. It's like, probably, maybe not with Cody, but we would have all been like friends in the neighborhood reading comics and trading comics as kids. Like we all would have been talking shit about whether the Hulk could beat Thor and whether this one could beat that one, and someone would have traded comics and gotten over on somebody and gotten more for Avengers 100 than they should have. And it's like, that was the thing that I remember. There was this feeling. And being an only child, I was a lonely kid. But when I had comics and I had that little comics community, it was only like 3 or 4 of us, it made it fun. It made life fun. And comics make life fun. And so being able to create things that recreate that fun in a world that sometimes can be difficult makes it worth it.
Absolutely.
And that's the point. And being able to come on and talk to you guys and being able to talk to other folks like that, it sort of creates a little corner of goodness in a world that sometimes is really complicated.
We're just better people than everyone, Rodney. I think we can all.
You can say that. You can say that. Just me and Cody. Actually, just me and Cody. Okay.
But it's funny because, and Jake, I think we actually have this as one of the questions. Like last time we were on, it was like episode 9. We were baby podcasters. We hadn't even figured out what to call our fans. But just going off of that, like I think we've seriously started to like foster our own little community. Mm-hmm. And at the time we didn't have a name, and you suggested the Codeines because of Cody. But yeah, but no, yes. but we couldn't name our fan base after just Cody. I mean,
I would. I would have had like fans that are kind of nodding on T-shirts and just call them Codeines, but I don't want to.
Fans that are nodding.
Just nodding in the Codeine. I don't want to be rich. You could be printing money right now, but no.
But yeah, did you ever figure out what you were going to call Killadelphia fans?
No, everything sounds like a little whack. There was Killadites and things that Jason says, because Jason's not cool. And I never want to hurt his feelings. But no, we haven't found a thing. We call them friends. That's what
nice.
That's the
I got to give Jason credit because I've never imagined George Washington as being this hot Anderson Cooper Silver Fox man.
We tried it because he would ask me sometimes, and it's funny. He'll say he did it with Jefferson. With Adams, it was pretty straightforward because Adams was the first guy. And then he's like, all right, so Jefferson, what you thinking? And I said 70s, rock star. That's where he was in this thing. And that's why Jefferson sort of had a long, lean look. And he said, all right, George Washington, what are you thinking? And I was like, Gordon Gekko, cool, strong, square shoulders, leader type, tough guy. He's like, okay. I said, still white hair. You could slap a wig on him, but, give him some distinction. All of them have to be different. All of them have their own sort of unique thing. And I think Jason's done a great job at sort of, making all of them distinctive.
Yeah, like John Adams lost the weight. He's got a nice suit, the red beard. He's bald, Cast me as him when you do the show,
Corny next to the other two.
Yeah, exactly.
Jefferson's still the dude that would take your girl. And the guy that's like, this is what you give me, this is the best. Both of you, be quiet. He's still that guy.
It was cool seeing handsome George Washington.
Yeah.
I had a question after watching Blacula last night and reading Killadelphia in regards to the werewolf tribe. Were you inspired by some of like the lore from Blacula when creating the werewolves in Killadelphia?
Not so much Blacula. I think a little Howling.
Nice.
Because Howling is my favorite werewolf movie.
Nice.
I don't completely understand it, but I love it. It's one of those things. And as far as the politics, I'll say the politics of blaxploitation, even though they're never outwardly stated under blaxploitation, there's this subversive, rebellious thing that exists. And I think in all of it, that you can feel in the fashion and the afros and the music, that you're in a time where, I won't say because this late civil rights, early Pan-African movement, like you're in this time of revolution, social revolution. So you can feel that. And I think the werewolves are sort of eternally in that sense of that. So the vibe of that, yeah, but I'm sort of in that. I grew up in a period where my mother had all of that stuff laying around, those books and that music, and that's what I listened to as a kid. So a lot of my thinking still is rooted in a time of that time, even though it's long since passed and very, very, very antiquated. I write to that sometimes because I'm mired in sentiment.
So does that mean we can expect the blaxploitation of the movies to flow through your comic run?
A funky werewolf.
Funky werewolf.
Back up, sucker. Blacula. It's weird because one of the goals I wanted in Blacula was to build a bridge between the 70s and today. I think a lot of the politics of the 70s and some of the social stuff, it's weird how in some ways we've advanced with technology. In some ways we've advanced socially. And then in other ways we haven't advanced very much socially at all. It's weird. There's this weird intersection. I don't know where the two meet and where they divide. But another reason why I wanted to do Blacula and why I think some of these characters resonate even still is we haven't resolved all of the stuff. And we haven't really dealt with all of the stuff. We're still fighting about abortion and women's rights. We're still talking about race and culture. We're still talking about unemployment and homelessness. We're still, not so much war at the moment, but we have degrees of a divided nation and more polarized probably now than even when Vietnam was going on. And we have more outlets communication-wise to be able to vent our frustration and our anger at one another. Being able to sort of put that in the backdrop, if you look at Blacula, you look at characters like Kolchak the Night Stalker, you look at Shaft, you look at some of those characters from that period, they all sort of had some of that sort of bubbling around them as they told their stories. That still exists now. And because I'm connected to that, practically because I care about the world, and creatively because I like when the art sort of reflects the world that you're in. And sometimes we don't do that. If you see a Marvel movie, sometimes and maybe they do that and it's brilliant as a marketing thing. You don't know 20 years from now, you could watch a Marvel movie and you don't know what time period other than technology it's set in. Mm-hmm. But you could watch some of those movies from the 70s and they could be talking about the future or they could be talking about other things. And you know exactly what they're talking about by the subject matter they could say the war in Vietnam, or they could talk specifically about what they're talking about. And I'm not speaking specifically to it, but I like addressing the nature of the problem at hand. So all of that long-winded answer to say, yes, you could find a werewolf that is connected to or has been connected to something that at one time Blacula was connected to. There could be some historical context to a werewolf in a Blacula world.
Nice.
Very cool. Are you a history buff?
I dig history. Yeah, I dig history because I believe that, and here's another thing, we don't really teach history in a way that is, I don't want people cussing me out today. Teach history, I think, in a way that is comprehensive. See, people have to look up some people comprehensive. In a way that is to where you get the entire story. And I learned a lot about history from movies. Sometimes I would watch like Little Big Man, movie no one on here has seen. But movies that sort of, when they started making Westerns about the Civil War, it made me want to learn about the Civil War. Like when the outlaw Josie Wales, Clint Eastwood, and that period. And I started to say, hey, wait a minute. What did that have to do with that? Because usually it was about cowboys and Indians. And then I started to say, oh, this was a particular period. And then, movies like Buck and the Preacher and different ones where you would start to integrate different ideas of what history was to different creatives. Then it became interesting to me, and it made me want to go back and look at actual history based upon the thing that made me interested in the thing that I saw in a theater. And so if I can do that with the Killadelphia, where I can introduce aspects of truth, and that's usually the math of what I do. I'll take true. Okay, I'm getting a little murky now. And then bam. And then, all right, I'm making up some other stuff to go with opinion and some other things. But there are parts of it in there that I'm taking from history. An actual battle or an actual incident, like Abigail Adams did lose a child. And, there was, Jupiter did exist and was Thomas Jefferson's slave/friend. There were actual events and actual people who did exist in history and do that. So yes, I'm a history buff.
No, that's cool. Cause I'll be honest, I never heard of, Toussaint Louverture until I read your book, and then I Googled him and I was like, oh shit, no one ever taught me about
and then
the Haiti French Revolution.
I learned about Jupiter when I was 9 years old, and I happened to be in a public library, and it was this book called The Black Book. It still exists today. And I remember reading, I picked it up. There was two pictures that I saw. I saw a black man tied to a wagon wheel, burned to death, and a bunch of people around him posing. And I was reading. I remember that picture just grabbed me because it was just very visceral. And I kept reading. And there was a thing about Thomas Jefferson. I don't know the context to it, but it was about his friend slave, Jupiter, who saved his money and helped him get into college, but he was a slave. And Jefferson, sold his family afterwards and did something to him. And I was like, wow, why would he? He helped him out. He was his friend. And that just kind of stuck with me as a kid because I'm looking at it through the lens of a child. I'm not looking at it with historical context and all of how the math of all of it worked. And I'm sure it was way more complicated than that. But again, these little things about history and just framing things in a particular way. I don't think we look at history like that. And I think it has a lot to do with the discourse that we have in this country, in the Western world in general, is because we don't see the value of people and culture. And I think the beauty of storytelling and the beauty of being able to weave all of that stuff into genre, which is what George Romero did with Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead and the early Universal films that were really about war and the fear of immigration and, different things. If you can bring those things in a responsible, reasonable way, I think there's another form of education that exists. And I grew up in a period of time where comedians were talking about politics all the time. Music was talking about politics. You had poets who were on The Late Show. It's like this was a part of the world. It wasn't just about entertainment per se. but there was a degree of, I won't say academia, but you had education, for lack of a better word, sort of ingrained in the way we moved as a country, as a society. And now that seems to sort of have dispersed into just entertainment. And so thus Killadelphia, thus the ability to be able to stick things back in every once in a while to fun.
Nice.
I feel like you just learn. It's a great way to teach someone something. You know, it's not like you're reading a textbook. You could inject that, and I feel like it sticks in your mind a bit more when you have the entertainment. You know, obviously, yeah, like what you're saying. Like today, like it's hard to find, you know, that true subtext in a lot of this stuff, but it's definitely appreciated to see it in your writing.
When you say teach or learn it, I almost feel guilty saying it, because the idea of it is supposed to be entertainment. I'm supposed to be talking to you right now about Blacula and Killadelphia. It's fun. They're vampire books. They're supposed to be about vampires. And for someone who hasn't read it, or they just look at the log line and they hear about presidents and vampires, they go, well, what are you talking about? They would just look as, you know, black people and vampires and the history. I don't want to, I just got off from work. I just want to have fun. I want vampires to bite somebody. And I get it. And I never wanted to feel heavy handed and it to feel like you're getting a lesson. I always try to tell the story through the emotions that the characters are feeling and the relationships that the characters have with one another, never through the intentions. I'm talking to you guys about intentions. Mm-hmm. The characters never talk about their intentions. They just do what they do, and we're on for the ride. So,
yeah, but I think you brought up George A. Romero, and I think like some of the best, especially in horror, is when it has this some subtext or when it is a bit of a commentary on society, you know?
Yes, big time. I mean, all of the Wes Craven, all of those guys, Cronenberg, I mean, everybody who made that stuff back in the day that were talking about the 70s and the 80s and the fear of, white flight to the suburbs or whatever it was that they were talking about. Even if you disagree with them, and that's another subject too, even if you disagree or if I disagree with what they had to say, I was still intrigued by their ability to say it and respected their ability to say it in the way that they said it creatively. And it still provoked thought. And it was almost like having a debate class. Like we could sit there and we could do a thing, and that was intriguing. It wasn't so much like polarizing that another person thought differently, or I didn't immediately want the thing banned or push it off to the side because you saw something differently than me. And it was just like a work of art. And I think once you bring in the pure commercial aspect of it, then you start to judge it in a completely under a different lens. Where I have to judge it now as good or bad. It sucks, it's bad, it's this, it's that, it's thumbs up, thumbs down. And you have to dismiss it as one thing or another. And that I think is disheartening, because sometimes, like even with comics, I don't want to be a hypocrite, because before I started actually making them, I was that kind of person too. I would say, oh man, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't whatever. But then once you go through the process, and I think it's evolved over time, and you realize how difficult it is, you start to be a little bit more empathetic to the process, and then also everybody has what they like and what they don't like. And it doesn't make you any less or the work any less because someone likes a thing or someone doesn't get into the thing. And, I just wish it was a different kind of community sometimes, to where it wasn't so polarized with it. You can dig a thing without hating the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels very black and white.
The extreme that comes with it. That's all.
Yeah.
Nice.
I had a question. So because I maybe I just haven't heard about it, or I don't think it was released yet. So I heard a while back that you and Snoop Dogg were working on a horror comic together.
It may take a minute to come together. It was another anthology series, Tales from the Crypt, CRP. And same kind of ideas, Tales from the Crypt, but anthology series, sort of a modern day Twilight Zone-ish type stories, short stories. These things are so difficult to manufacture and at this quality, and it's really up to how much can I keep writing? It's like writing. And, if I look at, I'm writing a series right now for Image Monarch, Nita Hawes' Nightmare blog, Killadelphia, Blacula Volume 2 now. I have 3 more books coming through, Zombie Love. I have Mandalorian that I do, Season 2.
Nice.
I have a couple of books through the big 2 that I'm doing. 3 movies, Winning Time, Season 3. I've got the Jack Johnson series, miniseries at HBO. At a certain point, you break down. If you just keep going.
You have an insane output. Yeah.
That's so impressive. Yeah.
It's like, it is great and I'm grateful for it. But at a certain point, you get to a place where the work starts to not be as good because you're trying to just meet the deadline and you're not putting, it's the thing I said about Killadelphia. When it gets to a place where you're just trying to get it done and you're not getting it done with the same type of stuff that makes it what it is, then it's a problem. Like, I'm proud of Blacula. I'm proud of Killadelphia. I'm proud that I can get on here and talk to you guys about it with a degree of pride. I want to continue to feel that way about everything. And I can't do that if I'm just staying up all night just to get it done. So to answer the question, if I can knock out some stuff and just carve out enough time to just keep going, and Snoop remembers that this is something that we're doing, then we're good. Then we're good.
That's nice. Awesome. I had a question. I know Volume 1 of Nita Hall's Nightmare blog is The Fire Next Time. I take it. Yeah. Are you a fan of James Baldwin?
I am a big fan of James Baldwin.
Nice.
Again, another period, 70s. And those voices, I mean, I am not, I won't even say I hesitate to think I am in the realm of a writer of that ability or insight, but to be able to sort of honor folks who inspired me, like when I was saying that my mother used to have books just laying around, even if I didn't read all of them, just by osmosis, having them laying around just sort of did something to make me feel like I was a part of something. And James Baldwin, by the time a teacher would assign a book to me, oftentimes I'd either already read it or it was already part of my orbit, was already there. And I attribute that to my mother first, but also to, I just appreciate that those folks made those kinds of books, and James Baldwin at the top of that list, and Fire Next Time being there. So it's kind of a tribute to him, but also artists. Like every once in a while, Kill Scott Heron, Pieces of a Man, episode 5 of Winning Time was named after that song. And you'll have a Winter in America. I know a few writers have called their books Winter in America based upon that song. And there's tributes. And you'll find it sometimes with writers and artists where the things that inspired them, they'll name books as a tribute after them.
That's cool.
But yeah.
Oh, I just realized this is so random. Sorry, guys. So Cody and Jake did an episode on season 2 of The White Lotus, and you guys were talking about how which HBO character should be on the next season. But you were in an episode of Winning Time, or a few episodes, right, Rodney?
I was in a few episodes. I was
security guard, right?
Excuse me. I am not a security guy. I'm the head of Laker Security.
Okay.
Ooh, nice.
I am a professional security engineer. I would prefer to call myself. There's a backstory that has yet to be told about my character, that he was a Navy SEAL, perhaps a Ranger, maybe even a spy. He settled into a life of mystery. And but yes, I've been on. I pop up from time to time like Gazoo in the Flintstones. Another day. I pop up from time to time, and people go, "That's Rodney." And I put on a wig, and I put on some things, and I put on makeup that takes days to get off, and little beads of glue that I have to pick off of my face for days. But it's fun. It's fun afterwards. That those 14 hours that I have to sit there all day are never fun. But
so talking about winning time, I'm from West Virginia, and we have like a handful of listeners who are also
Jerry West.
Yeah, is that a very accurate portrayal of Jerry West?
I like the way you're the first person, Cody, to phrase it that way. Is that a very accurate? Like you jump past how Jerry feels to the exact question. I respect it. And I'm going to answer it the best way that I can. I believe, based upon our research and the things that we have found, that walking the path of creative license and the research that we have done, that we have hit a degree of accuracy. Is it 100%? No. Taking creative license into consideration. There are some things like, I believe he said that he never broke a golf club. And in his book, it says he broke several golf clubs, things like that. Mm-hmm. But, all of that said, the only bummer about all of it is the guys who have complained and said, I never did that, or I would never do that, or that type of thing. And these aren't things that, like, we have references that we find in books and articles and things. It's not like just pulling it out of the sky. Is that we're really fans of these guys. Like, we really respect these guys. And, but I also understand if somebody was telling us, like, if Cody one day decides he's going to tell the story of Rodney, like one day he's going to tell.
I want to see this already.
Yeah. And Rodney Barnes isn't a part of the process. Like I go, like I'm there, I'm in hospice, and I got a couple days left, and somebody hands me an iPad and they say, Cody's doing your story. And I can only muster the words of, oh shit, Cody's doing my story. And I can't do anything about it. I'd probably be pissed too. I hope he's writing it with those headphones on with the ears. But I understand if they feel away because they don't have, like, there is a thing of this is my story. I did those things. And I understand the wanting to be a part of the experience that you lived through. So I get it. I get why you would feel that way. Yeah. So that's the closest I can give you to an answer.
Nice.
So just to confirm, you are giving Cody the rights to do your story, yes?
Cannot even say words that start with the letter R. Forward. If I ever hear about Cody saying Randy Barnes story. He can
Randy Barnes.
Yeah. Do that
dates and events. And
get a Roddy Piper story. He can do that.
Are you a wrestling fan by any chance?
I thought we talked about this one time. For 6 months, I was a professional wrestler.
No, we didn't talk about this. I only know because I listened to you.
We didn't talk
about this. Okay. It might not have been 6 months. There was a place in Georgia called the Power Plant.
Yes. Oh, for WCW?
WCW.
Oh, man.
I trained with a guy. It started in Barstow. I'm pointing north because I'm in California. I believe that's north. It could be east. I forgot the guy's name. I trained with a guy in Barstow for a little while, and that didn't work out. And then I went down to the Power Plant, and they beat me up. Oh, God, they beat me up. I hope no one ever recorded those sessions. Hardbody Harrison, I believe, the Sarge, and it was like 4 guys. Pistol Pez Watley, and there's another one, the Colonel. And they were the trainers. Basically, all they did for like a couple of days was make guys cry. And I was one of those guys. And it was the most painful thing that I've ever endured. I went through a period just in life where I'm a big guy, I'm like 6'7", 6'8", and
damn,
and 350 on a good day. If I haven't had breakfast yet. And I always thought that because of that size, and I was never a great athlete at anything. I've never been exceptional at anything. I thought I could trick someone into believing that I was, even though there had been nothing in life to prove that that would be substantiated. But I have a generous imagination. So I thought that someday this imagination would kick in. And so this led me, after basketball and football didn't work out, down to these various places, because I've always loved wrestling. I've loved from Mid-South all the way through WWF/E. We could talk about wrestling for hours.
Oh, nice. Got to get you on for a wrestling episode.
We could talk wrestling for like years. And it was going to be like, this was going to be my thing. And I could talk, so I figured at the very least, this was going to be the thing. So I go down there and they just beat me unmercifully. They just beat me. They beat me like a dog. And I couldn't walk back to the plane to get back home.
Damn.
And on the plane was where I decided, all right, I'm going to stay in the movie TV business and I'm going to make my brain work because my body is actually useless. I curse God because why did you give me this thing? You could have made me a normal sized person. I could have just done that. And yeah, that was basically it.
Wait, what would your wrestling name have been?
I didn't have a name. I didn't earn a name. I'm glad I didn't have a name. It would have been Bum would have been my name. But I do have wrestling. Like I love Ric Flair. When I was working on the movie Eddie in North Carolina, I wanted to meet Ric Flair because I knew he lived in Charlotte and he had a gym, a Gold's Gym near where we were shooting at the Charlotte Coliseum. And I snuck away from work. And I went to the Gold's Gym, and as soon as I walked through the door, the first person I saw was Ric Flair.
Oh my God!
And I was in awe, and he knew he was a guy like I've seen this look before, and like, yeah, how you doing? And he shook, and it's like he gave me a picture and he signed it and he shook my hand and showed me the way out of the door, and I was cool with Bam Bam Bigelow for a while.
Nice.
He worked on a movie, Major Payne, with me. And
yeah, I love Major Payne.
The Beast from the East.
Back in the business again. And he hooked me up with some people. That's actually how I started with Bam Bam. He was the one that was like, yeah, just do this and talk to this guy and talk to that guy. And he kept warning me, the shit's going to hurt. Shit's going to, yeah, how much could it possibly hurt? But it's like, once you start taking those bumps and you landing on your back, and I'm like, all right, I'm not, I'm what the world would call soft. I got one good fight left in the chamber. Like, I could defend barely, but I don't want to go to jail. I'm a victim. At this point, at this point, I've crossed the line into victimhood, and I accept that openly. I would go down with it. I told Michael Strahan, because I tease him a lot, that if we get in a fight for a minute and a half, it's going to be impressive. It's going to be, man, like the paramedics, it's going to be like a scratch here and maybe a bruise here on him. That people are going to say, man, that's really what happened. I'm going to be in ICU. I'm going to be paralyzed from the neck down. But those two bruises are going to be impressive. But yeah, man. I forgot all about that. Somewhere in this house is a picture of me and Bam Bam Bigelow on a set of Major Payne. He was a great guy.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is cool.
Bam Bam.
I grew up on Major Payne. I remember that movie, Damon Wayans.
That wasn't my first gig, but that was my opportunity because Damon Wayans took an interest in me and asked me what I wanted to do in the business. I told him I wanted to be a writer. And he gave me an opportunity. Didn't make it easy. Gave me an opportunity, though, which I'm eternally grateful for, and let me follow him around the country and work on his movies. And eventually, I ended up out here, and I worked on a movie, Bulletproof. I'm actually in that movie about to rape Adam Sandler. There's a scene when I'm about to rape Adam that I'm standing behind Adam, and Adam's like, do some shit to me, man. Like, this has to be believable. So I got my hand down Adam's shirt and I got my fingers in his ears. But I don't have any lines because they got to pay you if you have lines. So they inserted growling in the movie. So if you watch the movie, you will hear like a bear growling. That's not me. And I'm standing behind Adam and growling with my fingers in his ears and rubbing him. And then Damon runs in and pulls Adam out and says, "I'm sorry to take your lunch, big man," and punches me in the stomach, which is not in the script, but he wanted to do it anyway. And there you go.
I'm watching that movie tonight.
I have another question, just one question. I noticed in volume 2 of Killadelphia, Drake, or a seemingly very Drake-like figure.
That's Jason.
Okay.
Because I said
beef with Drake. That was
no. He said, "What do he look like?" And I said, anytime I say certain words to Jason, because he has this thing where all I can say is he should be on this show. I won't say why.
Yeah, we would love to have him on.
We would love to have him on. Jason, come on.
Yeah, he captures certain words like. I said, the guy is like kind of a Drake-ish kind of guy. Cut to.
Yeah.
Cut to. And then you get that likeness. That's
Nice.
there.
I was going to say, it's such a brutal scene too, but just seeing Drake kind of just makes it a little bit funny. Like, we were laughing about it, just even though he's like getting his throat ripped out.
No spoiler, but I thought about bringing him back because he was bitten and having him an actual character of that rapper like wandering through,
That'd be amazing.
but still holding the microphone because he never died through Philly as a vampire with a mic. With the same outfit on and just being like this rapper, this displaced rapper vampire.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, thank you for coming on, Rodney. Seriously.
Yeah, this has been a great time.
Had so much fun.
Oh, always, man. I need this like every 6 months. I need to hear Cody. Cody, just call. Just, every once in a while, just life is hard. Just call. Just say, keep going, man. Just say that. Hang up. You ain't got to say nothing.
He can send you daily reminders.
Yeah. Affirmations.
Just read fortune cookie things and send it to Rodney.
You guys have taken money and just crumpled it up and thrown the codeine. Okay. That was one. Cody's Daily Reminders, an app. Where out of nowhere, and any given day, your phone will just give you a reminder from Cody. Word of wisdom from Cody. I would sign up. If you had that app right now, $99 a month. I would gladly pay for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for that $1 million idea.
Yes.
Around that.
I want the next time we're talking, I want to see like landscapes in the background. I want to see like all of you hills with a palm tree and like none of this office stuff. I want to see you guys from Hawaii. Everybody's on an island. Give me anything. I just want to see everybody living large.
Well, thank you, man. We appreciate that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it.
And thank you for coming on. So is Blacula Return of the King, is it out in stores right now?
Yeah, it's in your local comic shop now. And it's available on Amazon, I believe, at the 31st, I believe.
Oh,
yeah.
This week.
Nice.
Oh, this week, nice.
Okay. So Noah, let's put out this episode this week then. If you guys,
I'd love that.
right? Yeah, let's do that.
Just got a thing that is 3 days away, so something. So yeah, it's very soon. Let's go there. It's very soon.
Nice. Will you be doing any, for those listeners in LA, will you be doing any signings at comic shops in LA?
Did Earth 2 in Sherman Oaks.
Oh, nice. I know that one on Ventura.
think we might do Golden Apple. I'm not sure. They're working on that. I think Black Star Collectibles, Malik's Books. There are a few. I think we're doing one at the Grove on February the 11th.
Nice.
So yeah, they're all around. There's just a bunch of them around, and I'll sign anything. I'll sign foreheads, children. I'll sign anything. That's what someone asked at Earth too. Is like, is it just Blacula? Will he sign anything? Yeah, I'd sign. I won't sign checks. I won't sign checks. There you go.
If I ever come to a signing, I'm bringing a DVD copy of Bulletproof.
You have to.
Yes.
Was what either that. Then the next time the Green Mile stories too, because that was Michael Clark Duncan standing on the.
Oh no, you did tell us about that the first time we talked to you. Yeah.
Too, so,
Yeah, by the way, listeners, this is our second interview with Rodney. If you haven't heard the first one, please go check that out. It's great. Rodney, thank you so much. This was a great time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Talk to you guys soon, man.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Please do.
Likewise.
Welcome back anytime.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Thank
Rodney.
you.
Thank you. Peace.
Later.
Hi, you're listening to Comics and Chronic, and I'm Jacob H.
I'm Cody Cannon.
And I'm Anthony Iannaccio.
And you can tune in every Thursday to hear new episodes of Comics and Chronic.
And make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Comics and Chronic. That's Comics, the letter N, Chronic.
We'll see you guys next week.
Woo!
Peace.